Last time we considered the issue of offences between man and God. And so now we have to look at the offences between human beings, man and man, which in Judaism is taken just as seriously. If you injure another person physically, financially, verbally, you can't just turn up in synagogue on Yom Kippur and say, please God, I offended, I harmed that person, forgive me. It's not going to work. You have to go to the person you've offended. You have to go through the teshuvah process with him. Acknowledge that you've done wrong. Feel the regret, the remorse, and the resolve that you won't behave like that again. And even that's not enough. If you harmed him physically, you'll have to pay him reparations. If you damaged him financially, you stole from him, then you've got to pay him back or give him back the article plus 100% fine. If you owe him money, give it back. Only then can you approach the offended party and say, please, forgive me. And if the man forgives you, all well and good. You have done your duty, and he is doing his to restore harmony between Jew and Jew. But if he refuses, if he says, I'm sorry, you've caused me so much pain, so much hurt, I can't bear to look at you, then you have to bring 3 friends to him and ask him once again, please forgive me. If he still refuses, you bring another 3 friends. And if he still refuses, you bring another 3 friends. That's the extent to which we must go to restore harmony between Jew and Jew. And if after that he still refuses to forgive you, then the burden of guilt passes from you to him. You have done your duty. He has failed in his. But what in the case where you are the offended party? Somebody has damaged you physically, financially, or verbally. How do you respond? The last thing you do is to bottle it up. Because if you do, chances are it will ferment, it will fester, till eventually it bursts out in acts of vengeance or grudge bearing. And this, of course, is unacceptable. So the only thing left for you to do is to go to the person and ask him quietly, why did you do that to me? I stress quietly. You don't make it into a public altercation and start shouting so that you embarrass him. Because anybody who embarrasses a fellow Jew forfeits his place in the world to come. So ask quietly, gently, why did you do it? And if he asks for your forgiveness, he acknowledges he has done wrong. He expresses his regret and remorse and says, please forgive me. You must forgive him straight away, wholeheartedly, unreservedly, so that harmony can exist between Jew and Jew. On the other hand, if a person who's been offended says, look, I know the guy who's upset me. He's a bit of a fool. He doesn't know what he's up to half the time. Or, I know this man is under terrible duress, is under terrible stress. Quite frankly, he doesn't know what he's doing or saying. And under those circumstances, I'm not going to talk to him about it. I forgive him in my heart, wholeheartedly. The Rambam says, this is the highest form of religious piety. If you can do this, then you're approaching God's standards of forgiveness. However, we mustn't be entirely forgiving of ourselves. We are all heir to one or more of those little human failings, those human traits which put a blot on our personality. I'm talking about anger, envy, enmity, greed, the pursuit of wealth, the pursuit of honor and position. They're all offenses. And for them we must do teshuvah. We have to resolve that I'm not going to continue this way. I see I'm doing wrong. I beg God for forgiveness. And I go a step further. I ask him to help me with the forgiveness. Because the reality is that if you become hooked on any of these little faults and foibles, it is so difficult to get off the hook. And therefore, in these circumstances, we're obliged to say to God, Lord, I confess, God, I was wrong. Forgive me. But I beg you, help me to be a better person. And let me return briefly then to the ultimate concept, the dominating concept of forgiveness between Jew and Jew. Rambam regards this as being of the utmost importance. In fact, he says, it is part of the innate character of the Jew, the compassionate, forgiving Jew. It's in our DNA. Whereas with the non-Jew, it's in their DNA to be cruel. They harbour their hatred in perpetuity. And we know it. 2,000 years ago, the Romans killed Jesus. The church blamed us. And here we are 2,000 years on, and they still hate us for it. They won't forgive us. And 2,000 years from now, they still won't forgive us. Therefore, Rambam realized, he understood, that no matter what the non-Jewish world may do to us, they can't eradicate us. They can't destroy us. They've done their worst. They've killed millions. But we're still here. We're still a significant component in the human scene. Moreover, we have a Jewish state, which is all too often the focus of world opinion. But we're here. We have not been eradicated. But hatred between Jew and Jew could destroy a temple. Hatred between Jew and Jew could dismantle a Jewish state. And therefore we are urged, develop the gentle art of forgiveness. So that on Yom Kippur we can stand before God and say, Lord, we know we have offended you. Please forgive us as we forgive those who've offended us. May God hear our prayers and grant us all another year of life, of happiness, and of renewed health.